Have you ever stopped to think about your next decision? Now take a moment with me here and pay attention. What will you do next? Will you continue to watch this video or will you stop and skip to another? Now what if this thought itself, this question itself was predetermined? Now this question of whether everything is predestined or do we have free will has troubled me and has kept me awake for many years. I looked for answers to this question in many philosophies and in many teachings. But only the ancient teachings of the Upanishads could answer this. And this is a fascinating answer. If you watch this video fully, then your question of whether everything is predestined or whether you have free will be answered forever. Part 1, Understanding Free Will Through Different Lenses. Now, our mind seeks clarity. Our mind wants answers in a clear yes or no, even when it is not possible to provide such an answer. This is the nature of the mind. Our mind itself is limited, but it seeks the answers that are infinite. And here we get stuck. Our mind struggles with dichotomies. Our mind struggles to hold two contradictory truths together. This is simply the limitation of the mind. And it is very important for us to understand this here. Let me share something interesting. Throughout history, this question has been asked for thousands of times, and the answer itself has been evolving. The ancient Vedas spoke about karma, the law of cause and effect, and also they talked about the divine will. And now the modern quantum physics is talking about probability and the observer effects. In my exploration, I found three primary perspectives that people tend to adopt. First, there is determinism, that everything is predetermined, like a cosmic movie playing out. Then we have absolute free will. We are authors of our destiny. And finally, there is compatibilism, a middle path suggesting both can exist. Now let's come to the second part, which is the paradox of choice in a predetermined universe. Now, when we understand Vedanta, we understand the teachings of karma. Basically, as per the Upanishads and Vedanta, who we are right now and our life circumstances, our own personality, and different circumstances that we are attracting is because of our karma, which is our own past doing. Basically, karma is action and memory. Based on our past action, we have accumulated a certain memory which has given rise to a certain personality for us in this life. And this personality is responsible for the life that we are living right now. And not only this, even the life circumstances, people we meet, the opportunities we get, everything is dependent on karma. Now, if we examine this deeply, this is actually free will that is being practiced unconsciously. So the law of karma simply tells us that there are consequences to our actions. But when we practice this unconsciously, we give up the power of our free will to the law of karma and we simply become a pawn in this game of life. There is a concept of kriyamana karma which talks about how our actions in this life can yield results in this life itself. Now let's take an example of a businessman who is trying to create a successful business. Now let's say as per his prarabdha karma and because of his past karma, there is no opportunity for him to create a successful business. Even then, through his effort, through his conscious action, and through his will, he can change his circumstances. He can create a successful business by being persistent. This is kriyamana karma. Now, this clearly tells us that there is free will. In this manifested universe, there is free will and we are free to create the life that we truly want to live. Now, of course, astrology and the prarabdha karma and different actions that we ourselves have done in the past have influence on us. They have created a certain momentum for our life. Based on this, we have got the body that we've got the parents that we've got, and certain life circumstances. But this doesn't mean every aspect of our life is fixed. We are in control if we wish to be in control. We can mold our life through conscious creation if we become conscious. If we are unconscious, however, we are giving up our free will to the law of karma, and whatever happens will happen. Now, if this was the end of the story, then it would be too simple. But here is where the story gets still more interesting. So, now let's come to the next part, that is the path to liberation. When we look at the ultimate perspective through the lens of Vedanta, and when we look at the teachings of Adiguru Shankaracharya, the reality is quite simple. It is Brahma Satyam, which means Brahman is the only reality. There is just one consciousness, there is one underlying reality, and everything and everyone is one in essence. It is the truth, and this truth can be experienced directly as per Shankaracharya and as per Vedanta. This is something that we can investigate, we can inquire, we can meditate upon and find out for ourselves. So let's assume that this is the truth. Then just imagine the implications of this. If there is one reality, if there is literally one without the other, if reality is truly advaita or non-dual, then there is no movement, because for movement to be there, there needs to be two things. Movement can happen with respect to one another. Then there is also no activity, because even for an activity to occur, there needs to be two or more things. And there is no experience itself. There is no subject, there is no object, there is no environment. Everything is one. Everything is one consciousness. This is the ultimate perspective as per Vedanta. So, if there is no experience at all, if there is no subject object split at all, then how can there be any free will? The concept of free will doesn't even arise at this level. So, from the absolute perspective, there is no free will. There is just reality, which is that infinite consciousness or God. This is the highest Advaitic view. But we need to be very careful here. Just because there is no free will from the highest perspective, it is not a reason for us to blame everything on karma and give up the control. If you are suffering, if you are stuck in your life, if you wish to create positivity and abundance for yourself and the world around you, you can definitely do it. There is free will in this plane of existence, in this manifested universe, yet there is no free will from the absolute perspective. These are two contradicting truths which the mind can't fathom, which the mind cannot hold within itself. But just because our mind cannot hold it, it doesn't mean this is not the truth. This is how the reality is. Reality is far more complex than what the mind can comprehend. So we must understand that in this manifested universe, in this game of life, we can create different circumstances through the power of conscious creation, but yet from the ultimate perspective, there is no free will, and the ultimate goal that Vedanta speaks of is to go to that ultimate perspective, is to reach that ultimate perspective by transcending this level of duality and separation to be in that oneness where there is no suffering, where there is no craving, and where there is only fulfillment. That is the ultimate goal. But as long as we are here, as long as we are creating in this world, we need to do it consciously. Only then we can create good things for this world and we can create a prosperous society.